Welcome everyone to this council meeting for 28th October 2021, which I now declare open. My name is Helen Sui, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of Moonee Valley City Council. I will chair the first part of tonight's meeting until the new mayor is elected. On behalf of Moonee Valley City Council, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which Moonee Valley is located, the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay respects to the spirits, ancestors, community members, and elders past, present, and emerging. We also extend this respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Although it is not possible for members of the public to join us in person tonight, our meetings remain open to the public through the live stream on our website, and I extend a warm welcome to those who are watching. A recording of this meeting will also be made available on Council's website. At tonight's meeting, 2 councillors will be elected by the peers to serve Moonee Valley community as mayor and deputy mayor during the coming 12 months. The next item of business on the agenda is apologies. We don't have any apologies this evening. Next agenda is declaration of conflict of interest. Does any councillor have a conflict of interest in any item on tonight's agenda? I don't have any conflict of interest declared. Next item are presentations. I would now like to welcome the outgoing mayor, Councillor Cam Nation, to give his final presentation. Welcome, Councillor Nation.
Thanks, Helen, and I do appreciate the opportunity to speak to my mayoral term. And councillors, I will seek your indulgence and patience for a few minutes, or maybe a bit more than that, to say some thanks and to touch on some highlights of what has been a whirlwind 12 months, an unprecedented 12 months that has delivered both incredible challenges and amazing opportunities for both myself and our council. Back in October 2020, when I was re-elected for my 3rd term on council, I wasn't necessarily expecting to come back as the 3rd longest serving councillor. In my plans, I was going to spend my first 12 months of this council term getting to know my new ward, while balancing councillor duties with re-establishing my businesses that copped a big hit during 2020. I was also conscious that no Moonee Valley councillor since the city was established after the amalgamations in the 1990s had spent more than 6 years on council before being elevated to the mayoralty. Given I had already done 8 years, I thought that ship had well and truly sailed. However, 2020 delivered a completely different council with a majority new councillors and a majority independent councillors. And I'm extremely grateful that this new team had faith in me and saw enough potential to elect me as mayor for 2020-2021. I'm hoping that I've delivered on that potential. I've tried to make a significant effort to be a fair mayor, an impartial and apolitical mayor, and a mayor that respects the significance of the role. I'm hoping that I've managed to add value to our city as council spokesperson and help improve relationships with other tiers of government. And I hope I've helped bridge the gap between the community and elected representatives, be it through accessibility or even just showing our community that we are all one of them, being passionate community members, just with a few more added responsibilities. All of this, however, would not have been possible without the support of our team of councillors. You've all shown yourselves to be committed, knowledgeable, pragmatic and respectful. 4 words that don't often get used when referring to local government representatives. You don't have to look too far outside our city to see how councillor relationships within neighbouring councils are having such a detrimental impact on the operation of those cities. I'm proud that as a group of 9, we have shown we are above that. Yes, there's been differences of opinion, but they are predominantly dealt with by councillors, not by running off to the media. I obviously want to make a special note of thanks to my Deputy Mayor, Councillor Katrina Hodgson. Katrina, your support, input, advice and friendship has enabled me to truly fulfil the responsibilities of this role. I also want to thank you for being the driving force behind our Vax the Valley campaign. I vividly remember our phone conversation on a Friday afternoon in the middle of the year when you put to me, Cam, I don't know what we should be doing, but we need to do more. That conversation was the catalyst behind our Vax the Valley campaign, which has been such a success that today I was the only local government representative selected to speak at the Department of Health's Vaccination Summit. I also want to thank the organisation led by our CEO, Helen Swee, for enabling me to lead our city and help shape our organisation into a responsive and dynamic council. As someone who has been part of this council for 9 years under 3 different CEOs, Helen has brought a 21st century and customer-focused approach to council business, and it has been an absolute pleasure to serve alongside you as CEO. To Ben, Brett, Nicole, Sanjeev and Maria, this thanks obviously extends to you as the executive leadership team as well. I also want to send a special thanks to my 2 right-hand men, or in this instance, right-hand women. Both my executive assistant, Sharon Keppel, and my main media and communications assistant, Marianne Karlovic, have enabled me to fulfil my role as mayor to the fullest, and I really extend my thanks to both for their remarkable support and patience over this time. I would also like to acknowledge some of the incredible challenges and amazing opportunities of the past 12 months. I'd really expected this mayoral term to be a period of rebuilding after such a difficult 2020. But as we all know, that's not how 2021 panned out. For most, it was a more challenging time as we bounced in and out of lockdown. The stresses on residents, families and businesses grew, and council just kept on stepping up to support those who were struggling, while also continuing to provide vital services to our community. Of particular note, I'm really proud of how our council continued to respond to developing situations at the Flemington public housing estates over the past 12 months. Our staff have gone above and beyond in trying circumstances, with their work being singled out by both the Victorian Chief Health Officer and the Minister for Local Government. In a 4-week period in the middle of the year, our staff were the primary provider of 269 emergency food relief requests, 1,300 dry food relief deliveries, 375 kids activity packs, and 737 culturally appropriate meals. I'm also proud of how Council has adapted to support our residents, ratepayers and businesses in a range of ways. Our hardship policies and fee waivers continued through the 2020-21 financial year, as did our financial support to community groups, businesses and local artists, with almost $1 million of COVID community grants distributed throughout Moonee Valley. We installed parklets, delivered pop-up parks and created over 300 new outdoor seats for local hospitality operators. Our frontline staff also pivoted to ensure customer service remained a priority despite the trying circumstances. Our library switched to an extremely popular click and collect service and virtual programming. Our kindergarten and childcare educators significantly modified their daily practices to keep our programs safe and open for young children. And our maternal and child health services adapted to telehealth appointments, as well as continuing to provide face-to-face consultations for our newest and most vulnerable families. Moonee Valley also took a huge environmental step, signing up for the Victorian Energy Collaboration. It is the largest emissions reduction project ever undertaken by local government in Australia. Collectively, the councils will reduce greenhouse emissions by a massive 260,000 tonnes of carbon emissions every year. This means from the 1st of July 2021, our buildings, libraries, community venues, streetlights and leisure centres have been powered by 100% renewable energy generated from wind farms right here in Victoria. Moonee Valley City Council has reached another significant sustainability milestone this year, becoming certified carbon neutral. It means all our operations in 2019-20, everything from powering our facilities to lighting our streets, had a zero carbon footprint. The certification follows through on a target council set in 2010 for our operations to be carbon neutral by 2020 and makes us only the 11th local government in Australia to receive certification. We have also made commitments to open space, partnering with the state government to restore parts of the Moonee Ponds Creek. We've developed design plans for pocket parks in Flemington, Moonee Ponds and Essendon West. We've also developed a master plan for Nursery Corner, bought new land at Valley Lake to provide better outcomes for residents, and have commenced negotiations to buy back Strathayed Reserve in Strathmore. We have also, through our advocacy and close working relationships with both the state and federal governments, secured an unprecedented $19 million of funding from other levels of government. That is $19 million of projects and programs that do not have to be funded by the ratepayer. This includes $5 million for the Flemington Community Hub project under the Victorian Government's Community Sports Infrastructure Stimulus Package, and $1 million through the Living Libraries Fund for the upgrade of Flemington Library. Both of these were the largest single grants awarded in their categories. It also includes $523,000 over 18 months through the Commonwealth Government's National Careers Institute Partnership Grants program to build on the highly successful Mama's Kitchen initiative, with Moonee Valley being the only local government across Australia to have been awarded a grant in round 2 of this program. We've also received over $1.9 million in funding as part of the Victorian Government's COVID Safe Outdoor Activation Fund. And we've also delivered some major flagship projects, including the design, construction plan and tender process for the Flemington Community Hub in Flemington, completing the Overland Reserve Pavilion car park and floodlights in Keilor East. And this month, we opened the largest capital works project in this city's history, the Keilor East Leisure Centre. Finally, some personal highlights, starting with getting to cut the ribbon on the new Keilor East Leisure Centre last week. As someone who has worked in the aquatic industry for almost 2 decades, being able to virtually and then physically open the centre this month was a real highlight. Similarly was the opportunity to present the Jockeys Trophy as part of the All-Star Mile at the Moonee Valley Race Club. It was a huge honour, especially given I missed the opportunity to attend the Cox Plate. But my personal highlight for me was being joined by our CEO for a private afternoon tea with His Excellency, the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, David Hurley, and his wife, Her Excellency, Linda Hurley, at Yarralumla in Canberra. The private invitation stemmed from Their Excellency's interest in both Moonee Valley's community-led response to the hard lockdown at the Flemington Public Housing Estate in the midst of the pandemic in 2020, and their shared interest in our Mama's Kitchen program. It was a remarkable afternoon where Moonee Valley was the only council of the 564 local government authorities Australia-wide that were attending the National General Assembly in Canberra to get an invite from the Governor-General. In closing, I would like to extend my well wishes to the next councillor that will fill the role of Mayor. It's a great honour and privilege, but also a huge responsibility, and I wish that individual well. I also want to thank my partner, Mickey, for dealing with me being absent for 11 months. It seems like an odd thing to say when almost 100 of those days were working from home, but anyone who has taken this seat will know it's an all-encompassing and all-absorbing role. Mick and I also want to thank all of you for your support when we lost our girl, Jewel, in the middle of the year. I now look forward to continuing to serve as a councillor for Buckley Ward, and once again, thank you all for your support. I appreciate your indulgence in allowing me to speak to my mayoral term, and again, wish the next 2 leaders of this great city all the best for the coming 12 months. I now also would like to make a little presentation to my Deputy Mayor, Councillor Hodgson, who I will also throw to say some words. Councillor Hodgson, we have delivered to you a plaque recognising your time as Deputy Mayor, and I will now throw to you to say some words.
Thank you so much, Councillor Nation. I'm just undoing the ribbon here of this wonderful plaque. Thank you very much. It's customary at this point for the outgoing Deputy Mayor to present the outgoing Mayor with a gavel, but the last few years have been far from ordinary. And of course, here we are meeting virtually once again, hopefully for the last time in some time. The gavel has, however, been delivered to the outgoing Mayor. So Councillor Nation, on behalf of my councillor colleagues and the City of Moonee Valley, please accept this gavel as a token of our thanks and appreciation for your wonderful leadership throughout this first year of our council term. Have you got it there,
Thank you,
Ken?
Councillor Hodgson. I don't know what I'll use it for at home, but it's a lovely gesture and a lovely memento to remember the past year. Thank you.
It's been a particularly testing year for our city, but as the spokesperson of Moonee Valley and of our councillor group, Councillor Nation, I've been proud of the way that you've represented us in all forums. You have really put Moonee Valley on the map, and you've certainly achieved what you set out to do, to be a fair leader of this group and act with the utmost integrity in this role. You have communicated clear and strong messages of strength and support for our community, of innovation and creativity in the initiatives that we lead, and of the spirit of generosity that makes Moonee Valley so special. You've sold it so well that I think the Governor-General might well retire here. Under your stewardship, we have strengthened our connection to our community, even while we have been unable to connect in person. And I particularly want to thank and congratulate you for your tireless efforts to promote and support our community to stay safe, get tested and get vaccinated, to protect us all and help us to move to the recovery phase of the pandemic. It is also under your guidance and support that I've had an incredibly rewarding first year on council. On a personal note, I want to thank you for your inclusive approach to leadership of this council and your generosity in spending time to help me navigate being a first-time councillor and Deputy Mayor. It has been my honour to be the Deputy Mayor this year and to work with you to lead by example and encourage a culture of collaboration and respect. I'd also like to thank my family, my husband Kieran and son Joe, who turned 2 this week and tags along with me as my little mascot when we do get out to events. This year has been a huge year of personal growth as I navigated being a councillor, Deputy Mayor, a working mum, and as we've all experienced, how to take care of myself through a series of lockdowns. I couldn't have done this without my support network of family and friends, and I'd like to thank all councillors' support teams. Thank you for what you contribute to this council as well. I'm grateful and humbled to have had this opportunity to share some of the responsibility to open up the lines of communication with our community, listen to their concerns, and explore ways to overcome our challenges together. Of course, I would have loved to have met more of our community in person this year, but I look forward to doing that over the coming years. Finally, I'd like to thank all of the councillors for putting your faith in me as your Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank our incredible, hardworking CEO, executive and council officers for your support, guidance and counsel over this year. Councillor Nation has done an incredible job of highlighting all of our achievements this year, but I just wanted to add my thanks to our incredible team of staff, particularly those in essential services who continued to work throughout the pandemic in aged care, childcare, kindergarten, maternal child health services, nurse, parks and gardens, our library staff, city safety and waste management. For keeping our community safe, healthy and connected, thank you for all your efforts. And a huge thanks to members of our community who have reached out, shared your ideas, collaborated and supported our work at council throughout the year. It's through our collective efforts that we are able to achieve the best outcomes. I'm proud to see Moonee Valley emerge from the challenges of this year as a strong community focused on supporting each other and working towards a bright future for our city. My best wishes to the incoming Mayor and Deputy Mayor. I hope that you find the experience of leading this councillor group and this city as rewarding as Councillor Nation and I have. Thank you.
Thank you both for your outstanding leadership during this last year, Councillor Nation and Councillor Hodgson. It has certainly been challenging, but there have been so many fantastic outcomes. Congratulations and thanks again. Councillors, prior to the election of the mayor, we must consider one report, which is report 5.1, term of mayor and deputy mayor. Councillors, do I have a mover and a seconder for this report? Moved by Councillor Hodgson. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Tyson. Councillor Hodgson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, CEO. As with last year, this report just recommends that we elect our Mayor and Deputy Mayor for a 12-month term. There is an option for it to be either 12 or 24 months, but the convention and practice in Moonee Valley has been for 12 months. which I think is a really positive one. We have a wonderful group of leaders here in this councillor group, and it's fabulous for us to rotate and share that leadership role.
Thank you, Councillor Hodgson. Councillor Tyson, would you like to speak to the motion? Thank you, Councillor Tyson. Would any other councillor like to speak to the item? Thank you. I will now put that to the vote. All those in favor? Thank you. That has been carried unanimously. We have now reached the part of a meeting where we elect a mayor and a deputy mayor. I will now invite nominations for the position of mayor. In
Chair.
accordance,
Sorry, you go.
Councillor Nation.
No, I was going to have a nomination, but we're still
that will
continuing.
come very soon. Thank you, Councillor Nation. In accordance with the Council's governance rule, part 6.2.2, candidates must both be nominated and receive a seconder. Under the Local Government Act 2020, a candidate for mayor may only be elected with an absolute majority of the councillors. Councillors, I now invite nominations for the position of mayor for the 2021-2022 council year. Councillors, do I have a nomination? Councillor Nation.
Chair, I would like to nominate Councillor Samantha Byrne to the position of mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Nation. Is there a seconder for the nomination of Councillor Samantha Byrne? And I got a seconder, Councillor Tyson. Councillor Byrne, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Councillor Byrne. Do I have any further nominations, councillors, for the position of the mayor? Councillors, do I have any further nominations for the position of the mayor for the 2021-2022 council year? I will ask the third time, councillors, do I have a further nomination for the position of mayor for the 2021-2022 council year? Thank you, councillors. I think it's safe for me to say there is only one nomination, and I now declare Councillor Byrne duly elected as mayor for the 2021-2022 council year. Congratulations, Councillor Samantha Byrne, Mayor Byrne. Now, I will hand over the chair of this meeting to the newly elected Mayor, Councillor Byrne. Over to you, Mayor Byrne.
Thank you, CEO. Oh, okay. 3 times calling that. That's glad that's done. Thank you very much. Okay. Apologies, I'm just pulling up some quick notes. Okay. To start my first speech as Mayor, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the land on which Moonee Valley is located and where I'm located right now, that of the Wurundjeri Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation. And I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to extend this respect to any other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who may be tuning into this live stream tonight. What an honour it is to be elected Mayor of the city I love so much for a second time. And I'd like to sincerely thank my fellow councillors for electing me to this position and giving me this opportunity. I'm looking forward to working with all of you and our CEO, Helen Swee, and executive team to make Moonee Valley an even better place to live, work and socialise. I was the Mayor of Moonee Valley in 2020 when the world was basically shut down, and now being the Mayor responsible for safely yet boldly reopening our city excites me, and I'm committed to the massive task ahead. We have so much to offer in our neighbourhoods, and I can't wait to lead an enthusiastic and committed team to help bring them back to life. It's a big challenge that we have as a group, getting our community back on its feet after what has been an unprecedented 18 months. As a council, we'll be working on many things. This includes ensuring our businesses are thriving and creating wonderful public realms, Queen Grove and Riverside master plans, neighbourhood planning for Airport West and Keilor East to ensure appropriate development occurs on our streets. Finally, having a soccer strategy to help with the growth of the sport, beautiful and functional waterways and irrigation works, a dog park in Essendon West, and stage 2 completion of the Flemington Hub and Sports Ground. And of course, continuing to deliver services that our community wants and needs. Whilst doing all of this, obviously ensuring that climate change and initiatives are at the front of our minds. We have a big 12 months ahead of us as we navigate living with COVID. We need to be adaptable to our community's needs and provide support when required. I'd like to do some thank yous. Firstly, to my husband, Phil. You know that the role of mayor entails many late nights and early starts, and yet you're willing to take a backseat with your career and social life to ensure that I can fulfil my duties. To my 3 beautiful children, Lila, Rory and Zoe, whilst you're all under 5 right now and don't necessarily understand this occasion right at this moment, ensuring that this city is better for you to grow up in is exceptionally important to me. And you definitely remind me of how important our parks, playgrounds and children's services are. To my parents, Heather and Brad, and my sister, Stacey, thank you for always encouraging me to put myself forward and give things a go, no matter how big a task. And to Councillors Nation and Councillor Hodgson, the last 12 months you have led this council with absolute class. I wish to echo the words that you both said about each other earlier on, and I wish to personally thank you for the service to this city. Again, also thank you to the councillor group for having trust in me to fulfil this role. So now it's time for me to doff my PPE and lead this city in a slightly different way. Thank you everyone again. Bring on the next 12 months. Okay, and now after that speech, I think it is time that I now take over as chair and we can get to electing the deputy mayor. So again, candidates for deputy mayor must be nominated and seconded. The successful candidate must receive an absolute majority of at least 5 votes. So councillors, I now call for nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor for the 2021/2022 council year. Councillor Hodgson. Oh, apologies. Sorry. Councillor, we might start that again. I will now call, sorry, I've got the 2 screens in front of me. I will now call for nominations. Councillor Sypek.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Jacob Bedio for Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sypek. And do I have a seconder for that nomination? Councillor Hodgson. Councillor Bedio, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, Mayor, I accept.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations for Deputy Mayor? And I'll ask a second time. And just to follow the CEO's lead, I will ask for a third and final time if there are any other nominations for Deputy Mayor. Okay, in that case, I declare Councillor Bedio duly elected as Deputy Mayor for the 2021/2022 council year. Congratulations, Councillor Bedio.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that 3 times asking is quite scary. Thank you, everybody. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the city of Moonee Valley, the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their ancestors past, present and emerging. Thank you, Councillor Sypek, for your nomination, and to my fellow councillors for putting your faith in me. I hope that over the course of the next year that I can do you all proud. Secondly, I'd like to give my warm congratulations to Councillor Byrne. I'm beyond excited to work alongside you, to learn from you and to deliver great outcomes together for our city. Councillor Byrne and Councillor Nation were the ones to give me the nudge to run for local council 2 years ago when I presented at a public hearing back at council chambers. Who would have thought 2 years later we'd be here tonight? Councillor Byrne is one of the hardest working people that I've ever met. Her ability to juggle parenting with a newborn baby, mind you, and exceed in delivering for her community is an art form. So congratulations once more, Mayor Councillor Byrne.
Thank you.
To our outgoing Mayor and Deputy Mayor, Councillor Nation and Councillor Hodgson, you have left a terribly hard act to follow. The stability that you have both afforded to our councillor group has made the first year of my first term so much more productive and so much more fulfilling. You have both achieved so much and you should be so proud. I also want to thank you, Councillor Nation, for being such an outspoken and resilient role model of leadership for the LGBT community. Our voices were oppressed for so long, yet we have come so far so quickly because of community leaders like yourself. I've learned so much from you, and I will continue to champion the needs and rights of the LGBTIQA+ community within the leadership at Council. It's been such an honour and a privilege to have represented my community as a councillor over the past 12 months. But I'm not going to lie, it hasn't necessarily been an easy year for me. Around this time last year, we all probably thought we were out of the woods with lockdowns and the ongoing COVID-19 restrictions. However, 2021 proved to be just as, if not more challenging for our community. I myself, as a local hospo business owner, struggled with the enormous burden of lockdown. But I worked hard to ensure that I continued to support and deliver for my community in any way that I could. So far, what I've learned is that being a councillor requires a lot of work, sacrifice, dedication, and a love for your city. And despite the past year, I want you all to know that I will continue to strive to become the best representative I can be. My journey to become a councillor began, I suppose, like many others, with an aspiration to improve our city. And whilst I spent my childhood in the western fringes of Melbourne, I moved to the city as soon as I could when I turned 18. Growing up in the relatively small town of Bacchus Marsh in the Mayoral Shire, I had quite a difficult time being true to myself. My coming out experience was not entirely easy, and unfortunately, this continues to be a common scenario for many others within the LGBT community. My school, under the guise of protecting me, told me not to come out publicly until I left Year 12. I guess now this seems draconian, but in reality, this was less than 10 years ago. Because of this experience, I couldn't help but feel a sense of disconnect from my peers, my local community. I felt inexplicably different from everyone else. I didn't feel that I belonged there. People have said to me in the past that councils should just focus on rates, roads, and rubbish. However, with my experience, I couldn't disagree more. Despite growing up in Bacchus Marsh, that town doesn't feel like home. In fact, at times I feel like a stranger. And as recent as this year, the Mayoral Shire voted no to flying the rainbow flag on Ida Hobbit Day. It's a simple gesture, but it truly makes such a big difference to our community, to our sense of feeling welcome. Councils can make a difference, and I believe it's their imperative to do so. Moonee Valley is my home. Moonee Valley is where I feel safe, secure, and connected. Our city continues to lead the way in supporting the LGBTIQA+ community, but there's so much more that we can accomplish together. I see a bright future for our city where everyone, no matter their culture, gender, sexual orientation, is empowered to be the best version of themselves, where diversity is celebrated across all council services. Because an inclusive and welcoming council does lead to a more accepting and welcoming community. I also want to take this opportunity to pledge my complete support to our small business community. As a business owner myself, I know how tough the past few years have been, but as Deputy Mayor, I will do everything I can to ensure that the path to recovery is as clear as can be. We need to cut red tape where possible so that our local economy turns a new leaf. Our commercial areas should become an example for all other inner city municipalities. To all business owners, feel free to reach out and contact me at any time. I'm here to help. Being a good councillor requires having a great team, and I'm blessed to be surrounded by such an amazing support network. Firstly, to my two best friends, David and Lachlan. We've been side by side on a roller coaster journey since opening our first business together 5 years ago today, actually, in 2017. But beyond business, we have each other's backs on anything that any of us want to accomplish. I can't express how grateful I am for the both of you. Being elected as
Councillor Bedio has frozen on my screen. Has he frozen on other people's screens? Okay, we might just wait a minute. He was speaking so beautifully. Just see if we can get Councillor Bedio back. He may not even know that he's frozen. I'm sure that everyone wouldn't mind if we just wait 1 minute. We might just wait 30 seconds. He's dropped out, but he's up, and we're back. Hi, Deputy Mayor. You were saying a wonderful speech and you're right near the end and we lost you, but we absolutely want to hear the end of it. So please pick up from where you were.
Do you know where I cut off?
Councillor Isa, I think.
You had just thanked Lachlan and David, Jacob. Councillor Video.
Well, it would be bad of me to not finish it then, because I need to thank my parents and my grandparents. I count myself lucky every day knowing that I have such a supportive and loving family. Thank you for all that you have done and continue to do for me. I love you guys. And of course, to the community, thank you for your ongoing support. I'm so excited to serve you as Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bedio. And I'll clap because I know that people have their microphones on, but I know that was a truly wonderful speech and I'm exceptionally excited to be working alongside you in the Mayor and Deputy Mayor roles. I'm going to learn so much from you. I know that you are an exceptionally talented person and I do believe that you'll be taking over from me as the youngest ever independent Deputy Mayor to be elected to the City of Moonee Valley, which was something that I believe I took over from Councillor Nation. So congratulations, Councillor Bedio. Another big clap. Okay, now councillors, we do have 2 further reports to consider this evening. The first of these is item 7.1, councillor appointments to committees and external bodies. Councillors, do I have a motion in relation to this report? Councillor Hodgson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that Council resolves to appoint representatives to external bodies and other committees for the period to November 2022 as follows. Audit and Risk Committee, Councillor Adams, Councillor Bedio and Councillor Byrne. Essendon Airport / Essendon Fields Council Working Group, Councillor Adams, Councillor Nation, Councillor Sharp and Councillor Tyson. Essendon Fields Airport Community Aviation Consultation Group, Councillor Sharp. Farnham Street Neighbourhood Learning Centre Committee of Management, Councillor Isa and Councillor Hodgson. Municipal Association of Victoria, Councillor Isa (brackets representative) and Councillor Nation (brackets substitute representative). Metropolitan Local Government Waste Forum, Councillor Hodgson and a relevant council officer. Metropolitan Transport Forum, Councillor Tyson and a relevant council officer. Western Melbourne Tourism Board, Councillor Adams and a relevant council officer. And Royal Agricultural Society of Victoria Consultative Group, Councillor Hodgson and Councillor Bedio.
Thank you, Councillor Hodgson. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Isa. Councillor Hodgson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Just very briefly, Mayor, to say that as a councillor group, each year we divvy up some of the responsibility of representing Moonee Valley on various delegated committees. And as I've read out, there's a wide range of boards and committees that we contribute to and sit on for the benefit of community and for this city. So I look forward to sitting on some of those myself just for the next year.
Thank you, Councillor Hodgson. Councillor Isa.
Thanks, Mayor Byrne, and congratulations, and also to you, Deputy Mayor Bettio. Thank you, Councillor Hodgson, for moving this motion and for doing the grunt work to put this all together. It is quite difficult when we're not actually in the room together to wrangle the names onto the different positions. They are quite important positions because they're times at which we I think there is pizza being delivered and you can hear my dog and doorbell. I'm so sorry. Times at which we represent the municipality on quite significant issues, at times at which we have an opportunity to advocate for different things for our city. I'm not sure if the background noise is interfering. I'm going to finish there. It's okay. Look, I'll finish there anyway. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Isa. Would any other councillor like to speak on this motion? No. Councillor Hodgson, would you like to close? No. I will put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. Our next report is 7.2, update to council meeting schedule 2021. Councillors, do I have a motion in relation to this report? Councillor Tyson.
I'll move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Tyson. And do I have a seconder? Councillor Bedio. Councillor Tyson, would you like to speak?
Mayor, this is just and congratulations to you and our Deputy Mayor. This is just to set our next 4 meeting dates.
Thank you, Councillor Tyson. And Councillor Bedio? No. Would any other councillor like to speak on this motion? No, as no one spoke, I will put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. Okay, so that concludes the business on tonight's agenda. I would like to thank all of those members of the community who have joined us this evening via live stream. Our next council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, the 16th of November, commencing at 6:30 p.m. and will be available to view via live stream. I'll also take this moment to remind everyone that there are plenty of vaccinating opportunities across the municipality. So if you haven't had your vaccination yet and you are eligible and you wish to, there are plenty of options now. And also that if you are waiting for your second doses, you can also go to a different clinic than what you maybe went to for your first clinic. So you may be able to bring it forward. Let's bring on the next year, councillors, and thank you very much and good night. I declare this meeting closed.